Have you ever looked at a map and wondered how the borders got there? It wasn't through peaceful negotiations. I can tell you that. For thousands of years, the world map has been a canvas, painted and repainted with the blood, sweat, and ambition of ancient empires. Today, we're diving deep into the past to uncover 10 astonishing facts about the ancient wars that literally redrew the world. Get ready, because history is way more dramatic than you think. Our first stop is the Peloponnesian War. We often think of ancient Greece as this united cradle of democracy, right? Well, not exactly. This brutal, nearly 30-year conflict was a civil war between two superpowers, Athens and Sparta, the big shocker. It wasn't just about soldiers clashing shields. Athens, a naval power, tried to starve Sparta, a land power, into submission. But a plague, likely typhoid fever, swept through the besieged city of Athens, wiping out nearly a third of its population, including its brilliant leader. Pericles, this devastating blow crippled Athens, allowing Sparta to eventually triumph. The result wasn't just a Spartan victory, it was the end of Athens' golden age, and the beginning of the end for classical Greece, thus paving the way for a new power to rise in the north. Macedon. Speaking of Macedon, let's talk about its most famous son, Alexander the Great. Everyone knows he conquered a vast empire, but here's the truly mind-boggling fact. He did it all in just over a decade. Starting in 334 BC, Alexander led his army from Greece, through Egypt, and all the way to the borders of India. He never lost a single battle. His secret weapon, the sarissa, an incredibly long spear, up to 18 feet long, used by his Macedonian family. This created an impenetrable wall of spear points that was terrifyingly effective. When Alexander died, suddenly at 32, his massive empire, which stretched across 3 continents, didn't have a clear heir. His generals, the Diadochi, immediately turned on each other, carving up the known world into new kingdoms like the Ptolemaic Kingdom in Egypt and the Seleucid Empire in Asia. The world map was fractured and remade in a single generation. Now, let's journey east to ancient China during the Warring States period. For over 250 years, 7 major states fought for supremacy. The game changer was the state of Qin, led by the man who would become China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Here is a fact that shows the sheer scale of their ambition. The Qin army was one of the first in history to adopt mass production for its weaponry. Archaeologists have found crossbow triggers and other components that were so standardized they were interchangeable. This industrial approach to warfare, combined with ruthless tactics and brilliant strategy, allowed Qin to conquer all its rivals, one by one. By 221 BC, the war was over. The result, the birth of a unified China, a concept that has endured for over 2 millennia. The Great Wall we know today was largely initiated by him, connecting older fortifications to define and defend the borders of this new immense empire. From China, let's pivot back to the Mediterranean, to a rivalry that defined an era, Rome versus Carthage. These two titans clashed in a series of 3 conflicts known as the Punic Wars. The most famous moment, of course, is Hannibal crossing the Alps with his war elephants. But here's a lesser known, yet crucial, fact. The First Punic War was primarily a naval conflict, and Rome, a land-based power, had almost no navy to speak of. So, what did they do? They reverse engineered a captured Carthaginian warship, the Quinquereme, and built an entire fleet from scratch. They added their own invention, the corvette boarding bridge that allowed their superior soldiers to turn a sea battle into a land battle on a ship's deck. This incredible act of adaptation allowed Rome to win, seizing Sicily and Sardinia. This victory transformed Rome from a regional Italian power into a Mediterranean superpower, setting the stage for its eventual complete dominance. After defeating Carthage, Rome's power seemed unstoppable, but its greatest challenge would come from within. The Roman civil wars were a century-long series of brutal conflicts that tore the Republic apart. One fact that highlights the personal, tragic nature of these wars is the use of proscriptions. This was essentially a state-sanctioned hit list. Powerful figures like Sulla, and later the second triumvirate of Octavian, Antony, and Lepidus, would publish lists of their political enemies. Anyone on the list could be killed with impunity, and the killer would be rewarded with the victim's property. It was a terrifying tool of political purges that eliminated generations of Roman nobility. The ultimate victor was Octavian, who, after defeating Mark Antony and Cleopatra, renamed himself Augustus and became the first Roman emperor. The Roman Republic was dead, and the Roman Empire, a new political entity with vastly different borders and a new system of governance, was born. Let's move on to a war that isn't just about conquest, but about a people's desperate fight for survival. The Gallic Wars. We all know Julius Caesar conquered Gaul, modern-day France. But what's often overlooked is the sheer demographic devastation. Caesar himself, in his own commentaries, claims that out of a population of roughly 3 million Gauls, 1 million were killed and another million were enslaved. While these numbers might be exaggerated for his own glory, the archaeological evidence points to a massive, violent depopulation. Entire tribes were wiped out. The war didn't just add a massive territory to Rome. It fundamentally erased and replaced a culture. Roman roads, cities, and language were imported, forever changing the face of Western Europe and laying the groundwork for modern France. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? You get the Roman-Persian Wars. This wasn't a single war, but a staggering series of conflicts that lasted for over 700 years. The longest conflict in human history. Here's the truly appalling fact: for centuries, neither side could achieve a decisive victory. The border between the two empires, running through Mesopotamia and Armenia, became a heavily militarized, constantly shifting line of fortresses and scorched earth. Generations lived and died in this perpetual war zone. The ultimate result of this centuries-long stalemate: both empires, the Eastern Roman Byzantine Empire and the Sassanid Persian Empire, were so utterly exhausted, financially and militarily, that when a new unexpected force emerged from the Arabian desert in the 7th century, the armies of Islam, they were unable to mount an effective defense. This power vacuum allowed for one of the most rapid military expansions in history, creating a new caliphate and completely redrawing the map of the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond. Now for a fact about the technology of war. The Battle of Adrianople in 378 AD is often seen as a turning point in military history. The Roman army, famous for its disciplined infantry, was utterly crushed by Gothic cavalry. But here's the detail that changed everything. The Goths were using stirrups. While some historians debate the exact timeline, the widespread adoption of the stirrup around this era revolutionized cavalry. It allowed a rider to stay firmly seated, turning horse and man into a single, stable fighting unit. A rider could now use the full force of a charging horse to power a lance thrust, creating a shock cavalry capable of breaking infantry formations. This tactical shift marked the beginning of the end for the dominance of infantry that had reigned since the Greeks, and heralded the age of the mounted knight, the symbol of medieval warfare. The Roman Empire's borders crumbled in the west, and new Germanic kingdoms rose in their place. Let's talk about the Vikings. We picture them as raiders, in long ships and pay-worry, but the fact that truly rewrote the map wasn't just raiding, it was settlement. The Great Heathen Army, which landed in England in 865 AD, wasn't just a raiding party. It was an invasion force that came to stay. They conquered and settled vast swaths of England, creating an area ruled by Scandinavian law known as its border was a very real line that divided the island. This wasn't just a military occupation. It was a cultural and demographic shift. Viking place names, language, and legal concepts were integrated into English society. The eventual unification of England under Anglo-Saxon kings like Alfred the Great and his successors was a direct response to this existential threat, forging a new English identity in the crucible of war. Finally, let us look at a single battle that had continent-spanning consequences. The Battle of Tullus Rebur in 751 AD. This was a rare, major clash between the eastward expanding Abbasid Caliphate and the westward expanding Temps dynasty of China. The battle itself was fought near modern-day Kyrgyzstan. The map-changing fact here has nothing to do with territory, but with technology. According to historical accounts, the Abbasids captured Chinese prisoners of war who were skilled artisans. Among them were papermakers. Until this point, papermaking was a closely guarded Chinese secret. Through these prisoners, the technologies spread into the Islamic world, and from there to Europe. This seemingly small consequence of a distant battle was monumental. The availability of cheap paper fueled a boom in knowledge, administration, and record-keeping, fundamentally shaping the development of civilizations far from the battlefield and helping to draw the cultural and intellectual maps of the future. From plague and civil war to technological secrets and mass production, these conflicts were about so much more than just battles. They were the tectonic shifts of history, creating new nations, destroying old ones, and shaping the very foundations of the world we live in today. The next time you look at a map, remember the stories etched into those lines. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through history. If you found these facts as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the past. Let me know in the comments which of these facts surprised you the most. Until next time, stay curious.